The city of Pasadena's underground program began nearly 50 years ago. Since then, many of the city's major streets that have electric circuits and power lines have been undergrounded, which is nearly 50 miles. As a result of the 2015 embezzlement, an external review committee recommended that program oversight be consolidated under a single department to improve financial management and operations. PWP now oversees the program, and it was recommended that the city review the program to determine if the goals have been met and at what point the program should end. In this video, you'll learn about Pasadena's underground program, the benefits and challenges, how the program is funded, timeline for planned activity, and possible options for the future of the program. The Utility Undergrounding Program was established in 1968 with the goal to remove overhead utility lines, such as the electric, phone, and cable lines, and place them under city streets to enhance the reliability of our electric system and to improve public safety. As an added benefit, it has helped to beautify Pasadena. In 2003, the City Council established two categories of streets to be undergrounded, Category 1 and Category 2, with the goal of completing Category 1 streets first. The criteria used to define Category 1 include heavily used arterial and collector streets, concentrated near civic areas, landmarks, and public recreation. Category 2 includes residential streets and alleys. It is important to know that not all Pasadena streets will have their utility lines placed underground. In fact, there are about 70 miles of overhead power lines that do not fit within the criteria of Category 1 or 2 and are not suitable to be placed underground. These are primarily homes that have utility poles in the rear of the property. Cost can also be a significant factor in determining whether a street is suitable to be undergrounded, but is not the only factor. There are limitations with access and space needed to bring in equipment and infrastructure. The process of undergrounding overhead power lines includes installing underground vaults, placing switches and transformers, installing underground conduits and cables, all of which need to be installed in different stages. Plus, access to conduct routine testing is also necessary. The entire process takes approximately 5 to 10 years to underground one district. Telecommunications and cable companies are not required to underground for Category 2 streets, so the cost to underground those lines are absorbed by the underground program. Sometimes, coordinating all of the design and cost-sharing details with other utilities can be very complicated and time-consuming, often requiring multiple design revisions. Then there are traffic impacts during construction. Undergrounding a street costs an average of $90,000 per property, or about $10 to $12 million per mile. Actual construction cost will vary depending on a number of circumstances, including type of property to be converted, quality of terrain, and category of street. In short, it would cost about $2 billion to complete all feasible streets in Pasadena. Like any equipment, ongoing maintenance is needed to upgrade and replace aging infrastructure. Repairing aging vaults can be costly but necessary. The maintenance and operating costs for the underground program is funded from electric rate revenues collected from PWP customers. That brings us to our next important point: how the underground program is funded. The program is funded by a tax collected on your electric bill. The underground surtax generates about $5 million per year. It funds roughly 0.5 to 0.7 miles of underground construction per year. At the current pace Pasadena is collecting the surtax, it will take approximately 100 years to complete the 50 miles in Category 1. Work on Category 2 streets would likely not begin for 100 years, and it would take about 400 years from now before the work could be completed. There are benefits to undergrounding overhead electric wires. In addition to safety and aesthetics, there are also fewer power outages with undergrounding. However, underground outages do take much longer to restore. Finding where an underground outage occurred is not easy and are harder to troubleshoot. They often require opening several manholes before the cause of the outage can be located. An outage on an overhead wire is easier to identify, making it easier to do repairs and restore power to our customer more quickly. Since there are both benefits and challenges with the underground program, and we hopefully have provided a better understanding of the timeline and feasibility of the remaining overhead power lines, PWP wants your feedback on how to proceed. Option 1. Continue the undergrounding program at the current pace. At the rate of funds collected at this time, it would take about 100 years to complete the remaining Category 1 streets. Option 2. Stop the surtax. The undergrounding program would discontinue when the funds that have already been collected have been spent on undergrounding-related efforts. Option 3. Increase the surtax to accelerate the program. This means construction would increase, so now it would take 50 years to complete Category 1 streets and an additional 150 years to complete the Category 2 streets. As a PWP customer who helps fund the program, it is important to have your feedback to determine the future of Pasadena's underground program. To learn more and give your feedback, please visit pwpweb.com/undergrounding.